Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back. I'm Casey and I am documenting my writing journey on YouTube. So it is October now. It's October 2nd as I'm recording this, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about how September went, what my plans are for October, and maybe even talk about my NaNoWriMo plans. Before I get into how September went, I want to briefly mention how I track my writing progress. So I look at three things. I look at the number of days that I work on a writing project. I look at the amount of time I spend working on that project, and I look at the number of words I write as well. So my goals for September were 17 working days, 1,772 minutes working on anything writing related, and to write 12,280 words. So here's how September went. I had 18 working days, which consisted of 3 plotting days and 17 writing days. There were some days where I worked on plotting and writing, which is why 3 plus 17 equals 18. I spent 2,158 minutes doing writing work of any persuasion, which is equivalent to 1 day, 11 hours, and 58 minutes. So like a day and a half straight. Just to put in perspective how much time that actually is. Of that time, 1,612 minutes were spent on my primary project, Project PM, which is a young adult coming of age story with some elements of queer romance and identity crisis, all the fun stuff. And then I spent 546 minutes working on another project, which is just a for fun project, and I'm not going to really talk about it right now. But words-wise, I wrote 18,100 words, and 15,941 of those words went to Project PM, and then 2,159 words was on that for fun project. So at the start of September, I did a little bit of writing. I spent a little bit of time on one day working on Project PM. And I kind of sat and thought about it for a little bit, because it has been difficult. And I decided to start over from the beginning on a new draft and just write from beginning to end, just all the way through. No skipping any sections that I'll tell myself that I'll come back and write later and then never do, just making myself push through. I also thought about the plot quite a bit. Really, not quite agonized over it, but yeah. And because I have been working on some version of this story for a while, and because in those almost 11 years that since I started working on any version of this, I've really thought out the whole landscape of what happens with Niall, our main character, what his parents' story is, how they met and all that. Some of what happens beyond the end of where this novel is. There's basically this technically could have a sequel and a prequel with how much I know about Niall's parents and some of the side characters that we see in Project PM, and that whole post-high school timeline that we have. And with that comes a lot of, well, if I know that these things happen, I should include them. So as a result, the whole plot that I had plotted out at the beginning of this year, a lot of it was more than what was strictly necessary, which was making it so this draft was going to be really, really long. Like, before I switched to this new draft, I was at 45,000 words and hadn't reached the midpoint yet, and I want this to be about a 90,000 word situation. It's like, where I originally had plotted as the midpoint is like in June, and the story starts in October, so that's like 8 months. And when I stopped drafting that draft, stopped working on that draft that had the 45,000 words, I was in like March. So it's too much. So I've decided that basically we're throwing out all of what I had originally plotted as Act 3. And there's part of me that wants to go through and replot everything to make sure that, like, I'm hitting all the beats and stuff. Because basically I have Act 1 and Act 2 and, like, 5 scenes from Act 3. Maybe. There very much is a part of me that wants to go through and, like, plot all of that, fit it into, like, Save the Cat or the 3 Act 9 Block 27 chapter plotting method. Because I've used kind of both of them in tandem up to this point. And I've decided that if I want to finish this draft by the end of the year, which I want to do, that has been the goal this entire year, is to have a finished draft by the end of the year. No gaps, no holes, just a draft. That I don't have time to go through and plot everything. So, near the start of this month, I started a new draft just in Microsoft Word. I've had 2 Word docs pulled up side by side on my screen, and I've just started at the beginning of the previous draft, which is, the start of the novel, and I've just been retyping the parts that I want to keep, rewriting some of the stuff that I want to rewrite, adding in whatever parts I had skipped over before, all of that. So I did that, and by the end of September, I had written almost 16,000 words, and was about 18% of the way through the draft, and I think I'm about through what I'm calling the new Act 1, So that was September, and here's my goals for October. In October, I want to have 27 working days, which 27 out of 31, that's 4 days off, which is, it's more working days than I've done for most of the year in a single month, but we're going to give it a shot. It's even more than I usually plan for myself for NaNoWriMo, but 27 working days, 4,444 minutes, and I want to write 40,000 words. And I want the vast majority of those words to be on Project PM, because I want to hit 55,000 words in PM, because that'll leave me 35,000 words to write for November, which isn't very NaNoWriMo of me, but here's the thing. My partner and I both got new jobs, and we start in mid-November, which is exciting. This is my first real job since I graduated from grad school back in May, and I'm really excited about it. But the jobs are in a different state, so we are moving. We are still figuring out where exactly we will be living, which has been stressful. And this month we're going to nail down whatever place we're going to be renting for the next couple years. We are going to pack all our stuff and are like ideal like start date in our new place is November 1st. It'll give us plenty of time to move everything, get everything unpacked, get settled in the area before we start working. So, between packing and moving and unpacking and then starting a new job, I don't know that I'm going to be able to write 50,000 words in November. But here's kind of what I'm thinking for NaNoWriMo. This is, of course, kind of dependent on how October goes, but I really would love to finish this draft of Project PM by the end of November. So whatever I get through this month, whatever's left, will be for next month. But as far as like the goal on the website, I'm probably going to aim to do 50 hours of writing in November. So then each hour would equate to 1,000 words, basically. I know, it's cheating. I don't care. The rules aren't real. So that is what I'm gonna do. But yeah, comment below how September went for you, what your plans are for October, whether or not you're doing NaNoWriMo. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to let YouTube know that you like what I'm doing and you want to see more of it. Helps me out, gets more eyes on my stuff. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!